Hello, test. Whoa. There's emergency matchmaking. This is the thing. What? Don't. This better not disappoint me. No fucking way. I'm shocked. I'm appalled. I'm insane. I'm crazy. What? Hold on. Thank you for the continued support. Test is working. All right, cool. You received your feedback on the matchmaking system? Yeah, for the last 3 years. Starting with season 24, releasing in tomorrow. There's also a patch coming today. Assuming you're in tomorrow right now. There's a patch today, the 4th. But that's like right as December 5th starts. So, December 5th, new season and new battle pass. Let's go. Matchmaking system is based on an internal metric called the matchmaking rating, and it's shit because all it does is pair you with low MMR players. That's all it does. This metric considers factors such as trainer win rate, so if you're good, you get trashed. Win and lose streaks, so if you're good, you get trashed with bad players. And current rank points, so if you're trying to climb ladder, you you get horrible teammates, which is what happens every time Johnny Noms plays. He gets so high in Masters so fast that he just gets obliterated with unredeemable players. And it's impressively unfair. Trainers cannot see their MMR. Oh, we know. We can tell. We may not be able to see it, but we know. I can tell you, my MMR, very high. And it's pain. It's real pain. I still have a win rate in the high 60s. Can you believe that? It's crazy. To help resolve this, we're making 3 key changes to matchmaking in Season 24. For the love of God, stop pairing me with low MMR players. For the love of God, I beg you. I beg you. I'm spitting all over my screen. I'm begging. Please. Made climbing to 1600 relatively easy, even with some losses. Yeah, no kidding. Too bad I still didn't do it, because it was pain, everything after 1200. And to poorly reflect trainers' exoskeleton. No shit. Adjusting rating gain and loss values. Okay, so losing is going to be a big deal now. So I'm definitely not going for the 1600. That's definitely not happening now. Trainers will now need to demonstrate their skills. That's a big thing for a company to admit, that they didn't need skill to get to this before. That's a big thing to admit. Earlier on to achieve higher ratings. So you're saying people can actually get locked into veteran now, like veteran and ultra. Expert rank or below, it's still free. You still get out of it for free. That's fair, because everything in expert and below is just bots. Veteran is mostly bots too, but in theory they're trying to make it not as much bots. They don't say anything about veteran or ultra, which is interesting. They're changing how many points you get. And so, early master rank wins give you more, that makes sense. Climb out of low rank, sure. I wonder if this is actually supposed to say ultra or below then. Because it's basically impossible to have a master rank below 1200. And even with this system, it's still going to be basically impossible. Unless you're actively trying to lose. Even with like a 40% win rate, you're still going to be in like 1200. I wonder if this is supposed to say ultra then? So once you get to 1400, it's even, so you have to consistently win. So if you want good teammates, if I had to guess. Well, I guess though the problem is that it doesn't say that you won't be paired with people below these numbers though. That's the problem. Because like if it means that you get to 1400 and you don't get people with 1399 anymore, then this works. Otherwise, no, it doesn't. Because you're gonna have to consistently win, but your teammates aren't. I don't know why they didn't just combine these. Oh, because previously it was Previously, it was all the way up to 1600. You didn't have to keep winning to stay. Which bodes poorly, because people in, like, 2000 were still, like, terrible. So, that doesn't bode well. 1800, you have to consistently win. And 2000, you have to only win. Or you're fucked. 2200 plus, you're fucked. Wow, it was even all the way up past 1600 before. It was even, always. That's crazy to me. On the rating differences between your team. Okay, so they're not fixing that, I see. I stand corrected. We're moving away from MMR-based matchmaking. Thank the Lord. That's, however, what if they make it worse? That's always a possibility with Pokemon Unite. Every patch they have made, there's just a chance that they crit fail and fuck it horrendously. It would be difficult to make this worse, but it is possible. And that's worrying. And instead switching to a system that only uses Master Rank rankings. Well, my question is, does it use these buckets, or does it use a different bucket then? Yeah, I've noticed. Long lose streaks means you get put with me, and long win streaks means you get put on the enemy team. Yeah, I've noticed. It sucks. With this change, this should I'm going to emphasize that part. This could result in being matched with trainers. Yeah, it happens a lot. Pretty much exclusively. I will consistently have 2 to 3 returning players on my team that cannot play the game, versus an enemy team that will have 1 at most, and that 1 is on a 3. It's on a 3 team. There may be some trade-offs to this. We'll carefully monitor your feedback and adjust as needed. There's not really many, you know, we'll see. Range adjustments based on past data. We'll be trying different settings, okay. Match streams with opponents closer in rating. We must narrow the matchmaking range. Increase matchmaking wait times. Good! I'm annoyed at getting a match within 10 seconds, and it's players that I know I'm going to lose with. That's really annoying. Okay. I remember I complained so hard about the matchmaking in the last 2 surveys. I was just like, for the love of God, it doesn't matter how much you change other things. I don't care how often you add Pokemon. I don't care how often you add skins. I don't care about all of this other stuff or new game modes or anything. I can't play the fucking game. I can't play it. These last like few games have been like one of the only times I've actually been able to enjoy myself. And that's just because one of my Pokemon is broken for once. I can just play Pikachu for free. It's great. Even with really bad players, for the most part, I can still kind of bring back bad games. It's crazy. I've never had that before. Thoughts and feedback. That's crazy. No fucking way.
Unite. We would like to share a notice regarding upcoming changes to matchmaking
That's
in season
crazy.
24 of Ranked Battles.
Could
yes,
be.
we are talking about
It
matchmaking
could be.
changes
Well,
in
what I've
Unite.
wanted. It could be.
I
It's
can't
not
believe we're
guaranteed.
having a discussion about matchmaking,
But
and here we are.
Because they didn't mention, like they said,
we've received your feedback
what
on the
they might be
matchmaking
changing
system. It took a little while, starting with season 24.
You know, they must narrow the matchmaking range. That
We'll
doesn't say
testing
that
some
these buckets are
Pokemon
what you're
Unite's
trapped
matchmaking
in.
system is based on
We
an
don't
internal
know.
metric called matchmaking rating, MMR. This metric considers factors such as win rate, win and loss streaks, and current rank points. However, since trainers can't see their MMR, this system can feel unclear and at times frustrating. frustrating. To help resolve this, we're making 3 key changes to the season. Master rank rating adjustments. Oh, baby. Here we go. Previously, the master rank system made climbing to 1600 master rank points relatively easy, even with some losses. Yeah. In fact, you could lose essentially the whole way. This provided trainers a clear goal. However, this often caused ratings to poorly reflect trainers' actual skill. With this update, we're adjusting the rating gain and loss values. Trainers will now need to demonstrate their skills earlier to achieve higher ratings, which should make the system more accurate, okay? So expert and below, no changes. In master rank, a win used to give you 12, now it gives you 11, and a loss would give you 6. -6 now gives you -8, so 12 to 13.99. From 14 to 15, it is now even. +9 -9. Previously, it was +9 -6. From 16 to 17, +9 -9. Previously, +9 -9. Higher, you will get at 1800, it's +9 -10, whereas before it was even. Now, then it's +9 -11 at 2000 and above, and +9 -12 at 2200 and above.
So you still pretty much gain 9 always.
Switching to master rank ratings for matchmaking. Oh my, we're moving away from MMR-based matchmaking and
Thank
instead
God.
switching to a system that only uses master rank ratings. This aims to make things more straightforward and transparent. So now, no longer will you be as easily. I'll keep reading and I'll talk about this. Previously, long win or loss streaks could result in being matched with trainers whose ratings differ significantly from yours. With this change, this should happen less often. While there are some trade-offs to this, we'll carefully monitor your feedback and adjust as needed. Matchmaking time changes. Until now, we've made matchmaking range adjustments based on past data, but in the upcoming season, we'll be trying different settings. To match trainers with opponents closer in rating, we must narrow the matchmaking range. This may increase matchmaking wait times. It absolutely will. If this is done properly, absolutely will. I'll talk about that in a minute. We'll closely monitor how many trainers leave during matchmaking and make adjustments.
I'm okay with that because like 30 seconds even would be nothing. A minute really would be nothing.
Experience. Please don't hesitate.
A minute is how long I wait for a quick match. A minute is how long I wait for a casual match.
Okay, where to begin? First off, MMR is a system that most games use, and I would say getting rid of it entirely doesn't necessarily have to be the solution, but this does aim to make the system in the game a more clear indication of where you are at skill-wise, especially once you actually get to about.
I think using
because then it's an even.
Yeah, I think it is a good thing just because, again, Pokemon Unite is for kids, it's for Nintendo, blah, 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 right? And, you know, like, just having something in the game that you can stare at and be like, this is what's happening. You know, like, I am at 1300, boom, this is what's happening. That's nice. You know, it's like, I'm going to be matched with people who are within my 200 bucket, I hope. And, like, they never mentioned what they never mentioned like what the range is going to be. Like, is it going to be these buckets? Because like it would make sense for it to be these buckets, but you know, like, again, that is a drastic change to matchmaking time. Your matchmaking time is probably going to be quite a bit longer. I will say this, I also like this change a lot for another reason, and if you watch Chris Heroes, you probably know, is that this helps a lot with trolls, because if you're actively losing a lot of your games, and that person is actively winning a lot of the games that don't have you in it, odds are much higher that you're going to end up in these lower areas. Not guaranteed, because again, if you are a good player going out of your way to troll somebody, there's really no way to filter that out, right? Like, that's just not possible. Outside of, like, specifically having a, you know, something, I don't know, something, I guess, that's really complicated, really hard. A block system. It's a very simple way of, if you report somebody and the report is accepted, you don't get matched with them. It's very simple. And people who get reported successfully, consistently, end up in their own troll lobbies. That would be nice, but whatever. That second part is really hard to do. The first part, really easy to do, I feel like. It feels really easy to do. It's a shame that the block feature in this game literally just keeps them from sending you a friend request. Like, what the fuck? What kind of block system is that? It's literally worthless.
Win-loss. So basically, for the longest time, if you've been a high-ranked player in this game, you are being paired with low-ranked players in this game, kind of consistently to balance out matchmaking. Now they are trying to more closely tie you based on your actual master rank rating.
Except for if you are below master, in which case, odds are you're just still fucked. But, you know, below master, you're pretty much guaranteed to climb rank anyway, so whatever. And even with this system, like, you're still pretty likely to climb rank up until 1600. You know, like even a decent player is probably going to have at least a 51% win rate. Right? Like even if it's a 51% win rate, you are eventually going to make it to 1600. And you only have to do that for, like 200 wins, right? You just need like 200 wins in a row, which is a lot to, well, not 200 wins because it's almost 10 per, so it's more like 20 wins in a row, which is a lot, but between like rank protection and like high win percentages and things like that, and playing duos, trios, right? Like that's really not very bad, especially when you're getting 11 per win in the rank before that and -8, right? Like so, right? Like you're not going below 1300 if you have a hope of hitting 1600. So I think that's fine. And again, like nobody who would complain about it cares past 1600. You hit 1600, you get your sticker, you're done, right? Nobody cares. It's just simply too miserable for me to do that because again, it is bad team, bad team, bad team, bad team. Like none of my losses feel like my fault. None of them. Literally none. Right? It is so incredibly rare for any decision I make in a game to feel like it has the weight of the whole game when I end up fighting a speedster that has 8 kills by first Reggie. Right? Like, yeah, sure, I made some mistakes and I died. You wanna know why I died? Because they already have 4 kills and they have ult at first Reggie. Of course I died. It's like, of course that happened. I generally just expect the enemy team to have ults. All of them. Not even just the speedster. I expect all of them to have ult at first Reggie at this point. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. Any change feels like a good change to me right now, just because I'm sick of it.
Rating. That's confusing to think about it that way because they're kind of
Like,
the same letters, right?
There was like a good stretch of like 2 months during and August, September, October ish, some miasmic time in there where I literally played one game a day and was already sick of it. Like I played one game and was sick of the game. Like it just took one. It took one game. Not even to just tilt me, to just be like, this is not a worthwhile use of my time. It's like this is not a worthwhile use of my time. I have a box for losing, right? You get a box whether you win or lose. So I got the box for the stupid like skin, the orange skin that you can't even get without paying a ton of money, so there's no point. So there's no point in doing that. I did my dailies. I'm done. I don't care. I don't want to play anymore. I didn't want to play anymore after one game. One game. This is a game I've been playing for 3 years consistently. One game, I was sick of it. It's awful.
But now,
it's a miracle when I have teammates that don't have awful builds.
1600,
it's that bad.
It's going to be a lot less likely that you're paired with someone 1200, and you will see some games where you are full on 1600 and you are paired with multiple like 1200 rating players, and especially given that the win-loss is not as forgiving. It's actually going to be quite a bit harder to climb.
I don't know.
So once you're in 1600, you've been climbing at an even.
I don't know what's
trade for a while.
I don't know
That's
what just happened.
A lot of games that you need to trade. Like you need to do significantly well to climb up. It's actually going to make hitting 1600 a lot more difficult. And I wonder if they're going to change the rewards you get for hitting 1600. Like I wonder if they'll lower that to.
It's actually perhaps consistent that you'll get someone below 1200. Really. Okay,
so
one
person.
The
time changes are one of the biggest things. And this is amazing news. Obviously, I will say this. Okay. Part of me wonders if this is just how China does it, and we're like just switching over to that. If
I'm okay with that.
Another point for the game could be
whatever works. Anything to make them change it. Like whatever makes them change
which
it.
I hope is going to happen. But okay,
anything.
Matchmaking time changes. This is going to be without question the most important part of this entire.
I still stand by that Venusaur skin is a huge red flag that we are going to get a global merge at some point. The Venusaur skin that is clearly a Chinese-inspired, like clothing set. The Venusaur Hollowware, it's like a huge red flag for me. I'm just saying.
Equation.
That's incredibly suspicious.
It's going to be how long people will sit and wait for a game that is better match made. And I hope the community sits and waits a little bit longer for a better game. What I do worry about...
It could also just be that's like they didn't dedicate any resources towards our version, and so that's just a skin that they made that they could put in the game really quick. That's also a possibility.
Is the fact that this is a change that should have been implemented 2.5 years ago when the game was considerably more popular than it is right now, so you wouldn't actually be stressed out about these changes and the matchmaking times wouldn't be that bad. In some regions of this game, like EU, OC, things like that. Like
OC
there are some
especially,
regions
yeah,
that this game is not
Oceania.
as popular as it has been, and I do worry that their matchmaking times might get kind of nutty. And I wonder if they will start to stretch the master rank rating number.
Well, my assumption is that they're going with the same mitigation that they had before, and that for the first minute or so, they might adjust it. Now that like they're doing this, they might adjust it to like a minute 30, a minute 20, something like that. It will be this. It will be like very tight matchmaking, like rank buckets, right? Just master point buckets. And then once you hit like the expanded matchmaking as they have now, right, we'll just pair you with literally anybody from any country and any like rank. Now what they'll probably do is they'll just expand the bucket for every probably like every minute, right? Like so like the first minute it's within your 200 point bucket, right? And then in another minute it's like a 600 point bucket. So the two buckets close to you, right? And then another minute, and then it's the next two buckets close to you. Right? So in your early Masters games, you might end up actually getting like an ultra ranked player. But in your later matchmaking games, you probably never get somebody in ultra, but you might get somebody who's 1300, 1400, right? But once you're in like 2200, you're probably never really going to see anybody in the early Masters ranks. That's just my assumption, is that as the match takes longer to queue, you're going to get worse and worse players. So it's up to you if you want to, like every minute you want to refresh, or if you just want to say fuck it.
Number your like internal number, or I guess it's not internal anymore, you're showing your master rank rating. I wonder if they'll stretch that more in those regions, because if they don't, we could have some really long game times for certain players. But I mean, I gotta say, I'm shocked. I don't know what the next piece of news coming from Unite is. It has to be bad. It has to be bad, because
Right?
every time there's something good, they give us a gut punch somehow. But the season that starts,
my fear is that the bad thing on this one is that the MMR is going to be worse. Right? They're going to switch to master rank points, and like by default you can be matched with anybody within 2 buckets range of you. Right? So if you are a master rank 1600 player, like you just got your sticker, you can still be paired with players who are 1200, and you can just as easily be fighting an enemy team at 2000. And it's just like, well, I'm just as fucked. That's what I'm worried about, because they very specifically didn't mention how tight the ratings are, right? So if your master rating is 1600, do you end up playing with people in this bucket? Do you end up playing with people in this bucket? Because like there's a huge jump between people who can stay in this rank, right? Like again, I have like a 68.1% win rate right now, so I could probably consistently stay in this bucket if I wanted to. Am I gonna end up fighting people who are in here? Are these gonna be my teammates? That's not cool. I don't want them as a teammate. They're still breaking even. Right? That's not great. I don't want that. That's not good. Yeah, I could probably do some quick math. So I think my average ranked score, if I had a 68% win rate, would be 9 times 0.68 minus, that's 6.12, minus 11 times, I think I've messed this up, unfortunately. I should have gone to scientific calculator mode. Whoops. So 9 times 0.68 minus, let me go to scientific calculator, hold on. 9 times 0.68 minus, parentheses, 11 times 0.32. which is 3.52, which equals, yeah, so on average, even with my current win rate, which is held down quite heavily by teammates, I would currently be at rank 2000. I would currently be getting on average 2.6 points a game. So I would still be winning, right? Like I would still be climbing. Theoretically, I could make it to 2200 if I kept that win rate up and didn't get besieged by broken Pokemon and didn't have bad players on my team. Theoretically, my win rate could go higher, right? Like that's just what I have now in dealing with bad players. But also my win rate has been climbing a little bit since it was 0.681 because I had a pretty good winning streak with just playing with the teammates have still been pretty bad, but they haven't all been bad. There's been at least one or two good players on my team. That's all I need. I just need one or two good ones. And for me to pick a good character and not just mutz around with like, playing Gudra and losing. I miss Gudra. Anyway. But anyway, details aside, like I in theory could make it all the way up to 2200 even with my current win rate. Right? So am I going to be playing with like 1600 players or am I going to be playing with like 1200 players at 1600? What's going to happen? I don't know. And that's the part that I'm worried about. I feel like they're not telling us for a reason because that's the bad news.
Actually, just a couple days right here is going to have a brand new matchmaking system in it, and part of me like can't even believe it's happening. I'm really excited.
I
to see what
believe
this
it,
does.
but I'm convinced that something's wrong. There's a monkey paw curling somewhere. The finger is curling.
And I'm really excited to have better made games.
I'm happy about it.
At the start of the season, it's still going to be chaos, by the way.
Probably always. Too, right? Always. The beginning of the season, that's chaos just because all the good players are currently playing. Right? Like, that's always just going to happen. At the beginning of the season, you get wrecked.
But I'm really excited to see what this looks like. And
that's when the trios and the tryhards and the 5 stacks
more often
they
will
muck around.
Be at a similar skill level. You know, you will be more often
I hope.
Players
Gosh,
who
I hope.
understand what an EXP share is when you do. And you'll be more often.
I hope so.
Some of the players in this game who are full on trolling their teams a lot of the time, they will be more often paired with players who are full on trolling their team some of the time. I don't know what this is going to do for the overall player base. Again, big picture.
Like, I'm just saying, like, I really hope that is something that happens. Because there's a lot of players that just play so bad. And it's really nice to see them have, like, stuff like this. The problem is that they still don't see that stuff until rank 1800. It's not until 1800 that a player like that is even really going to have an issue. Except for the ones that have losing streaks, right? The ones that are, like, trolling all the time, they're going to end up having, like, 40% win rates. And this right here, theoretically, will gate people with 40% win rates. Right? Like, as long as they don't get matched up with people in, like, this bucket or this bucket. If they get matched up with people in this bucket, they're just going to fall to the bottom of this bucket. Right? They're just going to continually fall between 1400 and 1300. And that's the ideal. That's what we want to see. That's what you want to see. You want to see them... Theoretically, you want to see them get trapped closer to, like, down here or down here, but... This is the first change. We'll take it. Right? Like, we'll take this. It's something. And theoretically now, like, getting into 1400 is a big step towards losing all of the bad players, and I'm almost at 1400 as it is this season. I'm at, like, 1340 or something like that. And so, like, I'm already close to hitting this milestone, which is going to see drastically fewer bad players, theoretically. Again, assuming that you can only be matched with people in your bucket. Right? If your rating bucket is very exclusive, I'm very close to hitting this bucket and having drastically fewer, like, bad players. And then you hit the next bucket and you just straight up don't see bad players anymore. Right? Like, they would never be able to get through this with a 40% win rate. You have to get 51% or, 50.01 if you really want to just grind the fuck out of it. Which is a lot of people that's how a lot of people see ranked, so that's not impossible.
Your thoughts are, I can't believe this happened. I'm excited to see what it does. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. They fixed matchmaking.
God, I hope.
Yeehaw.
Please. Wow. I hope. Give a like, throw a like to our content cowboy. Ooh, some ring rolled. I gotta watch that. So those are my thoughts. Those are my concerns. That's how I feel about a lot of that. God, I hope. God, I hope. Right? That's just a lot of what it is. It's just I hope. I hope. This is, in my opinion, this is probably the last major change that really needed to happen outside of gameplay. Right? We needed EXs to be fixed. We needed releases to be fixed. And we needed matchmaking to be fixed. The rest is mostly in-game. We need stuns to not be so broken. You need to not just die to a single stun chaining you into 5 other stuns on the enemy team. It's too much. But, you know, like, it would be easier to ask for the global merger than for them to rework the entirety of stun in the game. Because honestly, in the global merger, stun is less of a problem because the game is much more volatile. Right? Damage numbers are higher. Health pools are, I think, roughly the same, but damage numbers are higher. Everybody evolves quicker. Moves are faster. Right? The game is much more mobile. Right? Like a lot more characters can move and control their characters more of the time. Right? Like you're not just locked in place when you use a move. There's a lot of characters that can just move while they're using moves. Right? So you can actually micro space things, and chasing is easier and getting away is harder, right? So stuns are less impactful there. Still useful, obviously. They're always going to be useful, but that's the same as like a eject button. Also, every character has a eject button, so you can actually use another item that's useful and good. Right? Which I think is something that really should be in every MOBA. Or the alternative, which I would prefer, is to just not put eject button, just not put flash in at all. I think flash really just kind of destroys the fundamentals of the game, right? Like it just throws spacing out the window. It throws, like ambushing out the window. It throws tethering out the window. It throws pulls, shoves, half the stuns. Like it pulls so much strategy out of the game when you have a get out of jail free card. And when people like see your hand and like run away after their like their get out of jail free card is gone, they play a lot more safe all of a sudden, which is how they should have been playing to begin with, but then that risks them not getting as much value out of their time and their moves. Right? That's an interesting give take risk reward in a competitive setting that is destroyed by eject button. That's destroyed by flash. I hate it. I don't like it. It's just completely destroyed. But if every character has eject button, that's a better solution. Excuse me. That is a better solution. I admit it. It's a better solution because there's a lot of characters that have interesting strategy and tech and usefulness around being able to suddenly increase their range, right? Like Buzzwole is an excellent example. Just suddenly being able to increase your superpower range is huge, right? Suddenly being able to increase your smackdown range is huge, right? And there's lots of interesting reactions. Like Miraidon Electro Drift just suddenly having more range, or being able to shoot Shedinjadal mid-attack. And now you can do both of those. That's great, right? That's a character that can make full use of both of their use items, and that's really cool. And the same thing with Buzzwole. Like, Buzzwole is a menace if they have an X speed to chase you down. Right? If they have an X speed to chase you down and superpower first and then smackdown, you are fucked, right? Like, you are going like 4 character lengths in the wrong direction. And that's huge. But then you have to sacrifice the extra range on superpower or smackdown from the eject button. So you just lose a lot of strategy there that you don't need to lose because every character needs X speed or eject button. So if every character needs eject button because eject button is so fucking good, just put it on everybody and then you don't have to nerf the hell out of it, then everybody just has it, right? And it's just better because eject button is a necessary movement ability in all MOBAs, right? Just being able to control your position so succinctly, so precisely, and so instantly is a huge deal. So you can't really get rid of it entirely. So everyone having it is a good solution, I feel. And still allowing them to take a separate held item, or battle item, is good, because then characters that have item-specific combos, that's great. I still kind of wish that there was an item that did something with shield. Either that let you do more damage against shield, or gain a shield like potion does. Just gain a shield real quick. But I guess shield is supposed to be more valuable than healing. I guess. I don't know. Whatever. That's enough of that. Those are my thoughts. Those are my questions. I feel like it's another move forward, which is crazy. We've never had this many good decisions by Unite in a row. The same as like Spriggle said, which is just like, we're gonna get something bad. It feels like it. We already got the Ninetales skin again, so that's not great. But I mean, they did improve it. It's not great, but they did improve it. There's a maximum number of level 4 chests before you just get it for free. Well, for free. You still need 35, so you're still probably gonna pay, like well over $100. Well, I think the math cord mathed it out, and it's closer to like 40, 50. But still, that's not great. And you're guaranteed. You're not guaranteed, but you're more likely to get tier 3 and 4 chests during like the start of the event and the end of the event. Even though it's not really, because I still got a level 2 chest on my very first one during that event. It's bullshit. Whatever. But like free to play, like I still don't even have 100 tickets yet, and it costs 300, right? Like it's not really that close. Like, could I spend money to get it? Maybe. I won't though, because I want the battle pass. And I'm still mad that they screwed over the membership. I liked that. I liked the skin you got for it. I thought that was really cool. And then they went out of their way to nerf the gems for it, so it's also a worse deal. And I'm still mad about it. I'm sure I won't be mad forever if they keep making good decisions like this, but I'm still mad about it now. That's what matters. I'm mad now. But whatever. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next stream. Bye! Better matchmaking!